what's the focus for this week in terms of what you need to correct from Missouri State?
Just correcting the mistakes, like you said. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes. I think we just hurt ourselves in the first game. I mean, Missouri State is a great team, give them the respect that they played hard and everything. But I think there's about like 5 or 6 plays, maybe more than that, that we could have made ourselves, whether it's in the pass game or the run game, that we could have put the game away and just give ourselves our added confidence going like forward in the game. So it's just all about correcting those mistakes and it's social practice. I mean, because when you practice it and then you go into the game, it should be like practice because the stuff you practice should be how you play. So just an added sense of urgency to practice and you're just correcting those things this week.
Brennan, you almost broke a kick return and a punt return off for a touchdown. How comfortable do you feel back there?
I feel really comfortable. I mean, every time I get back there, my mindset is on taking the kick back. So when I get back there, I'm just trying to make something happen because they didn't trust me with the ball in my hands. So I want to pay it back and try to do what I can for the team.
Yeah, Coach Gundy talked about during practice. You asked him to wear flags when you were practicing punt returns.
Mm-hmm.
And what came into that decision and what was that like?
I mean, it's just no fun when they like run by and like don't tag off. So I mean, just like a little game like when you're kids, like someone tries to play tag or something like that, just give an extra look and not just like run past me because I can't tell. I mean, it kind of sucks in practice because they like sit after returners, so I can't tell if I'm scoring or not. So every play I'm scoring out there, but I know it's not like that in game. So just like an extra in-game look, just in my competition.
Brent, going off of that with the flags, I mean, it's a little bit of competition with your other teammates that, hey, I didn't get any flags taken away from me.
No, yeah, there's definitely gonna be some trash talking if they don't take it away from me. So that's kind of some of it.
On kick return, is it a case where the coaches kind of limit when you're allowed to, or is it just kind of you're able to go when you feel like you have a good lane to get through?
I mean, like, of course, I'm not gonna take one out if it's 7, 8 yards deep because I also have to think about the other people out there blocking. So I don't want to, do too much with the ball. But like, if it's sometimes like we go out there and I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna return it. Sometimes if it's like 5 or deep, I'll tell them that. But most of the time it's just if I can catch it, he'll tell me stay on the line, and if I can catch it, then usually take it out. So if it's like 2 or above, then I'll take it.
Brennan, yesterday Coach Gundy mentioned the punt return where you did a whole lot of running but didn't get very far.
Yeah.
What was the reaction when you got to the sideline after that one?
It's not high school. This is definitely not high school. In high school, I could probably make that play and then screw it up and probably score, but this is not high school. They get out there.
And what do you feel like I know you spent you're used to spending a lot of time on the field, but being in the passing game and then having the responsibility as the punt returner, the kick returner, what did you learn Saturday night, or what do you feel like you still have to learn, other than maybe that it's no longer high school?
I learned that it's a lot. Like, so during the game, you can't really, rest necessarily. You kind of have to watch defense, wait for third downs, and get out there, catch the punts. If you return it or you don't, get ready for offense, and then watch. So you always have to be in tune for the game. So you can never really let your guard down per se if you're just playing offense or defense. You kind of have to always be. So it's just like a wave of emotion. Sometimes you may get nervous or you may get happy, scared. So it's kind of just a wave of emotion for about 3 or 4 hours, which is a little bit anxious and nerve-wracking. But I mean, it's all fun in the end.
You had that 36-yard return. How close did you feel on that to breaking it off altogether?
I felt very close. The way he kicked it, it looked like a squib, and he had been bombing it out the end zone. So I thought it was gonna go line drive and sail past me, but it came up close. So the last thing I want to do is go up and then it hits my feet and bounces up, or I bobble it and then I have to stop. So I was like, if it bounced, it was gonna bounce, but I was like, if it bounces and goes over my head, I'll let it go. But it kind of bounced and came straight up to me, and I saw the crease at 5 yards. So from that point, I was just but I'm 15, 20 yards away. So I was like, I gotta go. So by the time I got there, I still was thinking oh, I'm there, and I tripped up, but I still thought, oh, I can go. So I always think I can go until I'm on the ground.
You mentioned the wave emotions of doing all this stuff. Did you ever talk to Dylan Stoner about that? Did he ever have any advice for you on that? Because he did that a lot too.
Yeah, I would talk to him about it.
Yeah.
I think I talked to him about it in the Miami game or the Kansas State game, because Dylan never drops a punt. He never drops one, and he's always so calm and cool and collected. So I would just ask him, how did you do this, how you do that, and he just comes with experience. he just told me like, you'll be doing it next year. You'll learn how to deal with it because you can't really tell someone, something because everybody's different with how they deal with things. So, he just told me like, you'll be all right. You'll know how to deal with it, and so on and so on.
And I'm curious about the flags. How often do you feel like you're getting caught? Do you have kind of an estimate? Do you get free a bunch? Do you
Oh, I know when I mess up. Like I know if like even if they don't like really tag me, I know if that would have been a tackle or if that would have been not. And sometimes I'll like let them know because they'll be like, "Oh, I got you." I'll be like, "No, you didn't. Like you wouldn't have got that."
Who would you say
that was
is
your
there?
first time playing in a full Blue Picket Stadium atmosphere. And so, what kind of edge did that give you personally and the rest of the team around the time that we have 50,000 OSU fans behind you guys?
It was like a dream come true because I grew up an OSU fan. So, I mean, like prior to the game, I was watching all sorts of highlights from 2 years ago when Josh Stewart was here, David Glidden, just like watching it, getting the full experience, and then like realizing, hey, like that's gonna be me on Saturday. So it was just kind of like surreal going out there. And once I got there, I mean, all that stuff goes away, and then from that point on, it's just a game. So it was a really like surreal experience and really cool.
When you're in practice with the flags, who would you say is most competitive about trying to catch you?
Lyric Rawls, he always says something to me, whether it's on like scout team or like any other team that he's on, he's always saying something to me, so probably him.
Brennan, going back to the fans a little bit, your brother was at the game. How much do you talk with him, and how much does he like help motivate you, or has he seen you play out there where he's like, hey, you should have done this, vice versa, or whatever?
He does a lot for me. Not only him, but my older brother Brandon. They always tell me stuff I could have done better, like, oh, there's a seam right here, maybe watch that next time, or this and that. And like with how Braylon plays, because I watch his game every Friday night, so when he plays on Friday night and he does good, then it kind of like makes me be like, well, you got to go out there and play good Saturday because they're watching and all that stuff. So it kind of motivates me to just do better and just keep up the work because I know they're watching and they know I'm watching them. So it's kind of just like this bond that we both have to like try to not top one another, but motivate each other to do better.
Take it a step further. Does he send you clips or vice versa? Like you can have a little film breakdown with your older brother as well as Braylon?
I may talk like during the Jinx game. I was watching the game and I talked to him at halftime, like, hey, they're doing this, they're doing that, like they're doing this and that. So we kind of like talked about it a little bit. He'll tell me what he's seeing. So like when he goes back out there, or like last year during the TCU game, the first kickoff return I had, I thought I could have broke it. And I texted my older brother Brandon, and he was like, yeah, there's a seam outside. So when I got the win at the end of the fourth quarter, I was looking outside, and lo and behold, there's a seam. So they both kind of give me feedback because we're a football family. So they give me a lot of good things, and I try to give them back.
Just to clarify, you're talking during the game, like at halftime or whatever?
Yeah, like halftime or stuff like that.
What's that like having an extra edge?
I mean, it's kind of like stuff. It's like stuff I already know, but it's just there for clarification.
Being a always been the smallest guy on the field when you played.
Yes. Yes. And high school, sometimes like if you play like at high school, there's always gonna be some small kids like 5'2" or something like that. So yes, but in terms of like being on the field, yes. I was actually talking with my friend Rashad yesterday. He's like 6'3", 210, and like he'll see a DB and be like, "Oh my gosh, he's 6'1", like 195. I'm gonna bully him." And I'm like, "Rashad, you're bigger than 96% of the DBs we're gonna play." I was like, "I'm smaller than 96% of the DBs we're gonna play." So the way he talks about DBs and the way I talk about DBs is two totally different things.
Does that drive your competitive spirit?
I mean, being this small, like you kind of look out there and like, dang, these guys are big. Because it's different, it's way different in high school. Everyone out there is big, fast, strong, and everything. So it just kind of makes me like, feel like, oh, I gotta do this, gotta do that. So it doesn't scare me, but I'm just like, geez, these guys are big. But I mean, when you start playing, it kind of fizzles down.
We'll do one more for Brennan. You mentioned some of those former Oklahoma State receivers / special teams guys that you watched growing up. Is there any one that you kind of mirror your game after?
I love the way Josh Stewart played, and just the way he like did everything. And David Glidden, I try to watch their stuff a lot. David did a lot of stuff right on offense, and I still talk to him sometimes in the off season because he was really smart and he had recruited me coming out of high school. So I try to talk to him a lot. And Josh Stewart actually showed up to practice a couple of days ago and just talked to me about like some of the things that I could do better, or like just stuff that he's seen or stuff that he did that he knows I can do to try and help me with my game. So just like watching them.
How impactful is that when former guys come back and just give a little bit of their wisdom from their time here?
Oh, it's really impactful. I mean, because it gives me the sense of confidence that like they see something in me that maybe I can't see in myself. So it gives me a sense of confidence to go out there and do what they did and just try to do better than what they did. So that way, if I have a great career here, I can pass it on to the next wave of the players that come by.